boogity! Let's go racing, boys!
Let's go racing, boys. That's our racing, boys. Oh, yeah.
It's going to be another one of those fantastic Atlanta finishes. Gordon got loose in Torben. Here they come, and I think Gordon's got the advantage on him. He does.
Love it when it's four wide. Love it when it's fast. Love it when the leaders come and he's moving past. Love it when they're making lots of noise. Can't wait to hear the W say.
Boogity, boogity, boogity.
Let's go racing, boys.
Let's go racing, boys. Let's go racing, boys.
Fox Sports welcomes you to one of the fastest places on earth, Atlanta Motor Speedway. The drivers are getting ready. It's already been an eventful week. The lid has come off on points leader Carl Edwards, creating controversy. After taking a hard hit, Jeff Gordon is on the pole for today's 500-mile race. This is NASCAR on Fox, and we're glad to have you with us. Our Hollywood Hotel, our traveling studio, is trackside on a cool but clear Georgia day. It's actually warming up. This is where America gathers every weekend for NASCAR. With Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers, and thanks for being with us.
I'm cool.
He's
no,
clear.
Yeah. I'm cool.
Okay. And I'm cloudy. All right. Hey, so we've already had, compared to this time last year, 25 more lead changes, right? We've had some big wrecks last week, some exciting finishes. What about today?
More of the same. I mean, this car, and the thing I love about this car, and every crew chief and everybody knows it, it's up to the driver.
Yep.
How brave do you want to be? Will you put it in there like Kurt Busch or Kyle Busch has been doing? Will you stick it in places where it doesn't need to go? That's what we're going to see today.
And when you take a look at some of those guys like that, look at the front row and realize when you come to Atlanta, 24 times the winner has come off the front row, and a guy like Dale Earnhardt Jr. up 18 points from a year ago, you better watch out for that 88.
We're all waiting for that win, right? It's been 65 races since his last win, and every sport, this is the hot news, seems to be wrestling with scandal, from the NFL cracking down on videotaping to baseball and steroids. Now this week, NASCAR penalizing its most recent winner. Carl Edwards and car owner Jack Roush were docked 100 points each following the post-race inspection last Sunday in Las Vegas. NASCAR discovered that the cover that houses the oil tank was off. Crew chief Bob Osborne suspended for 6 races, fined $100,000. Edwards and his team have denied that it was intentional. The penalty dropped Edwards from 1st to 7th in the standings. In addition, if he is one of the top 12 drivers in the chase for the championship at the end of the year, he will not receive the 10 additional bonus points for having won the Las Vegas race. We'll have more on this in a moment. Let's check in now on the track with Steve Burns.
All right, thank you, Chris Myers. Carl, it's been a distracting week for you. You won 2 in a row, but you got the penalty. Your crew chief, Bob Osborne, is at home. Has it been mentally distracting for you?
You know, I try real hard not to let it bother me. Bob, I know you're watching. The deal is I've gone out and done the best I can. We've got 2 trophies in the last 2 weeks. There's nothing I can do about that. You know what happened. We got our penalty. It's a fair penalty. We all got to race under the same rules. And the mission right now is just to go out and win this race today, man. I'd love nothing more to make it 3 in a row. But no, I've learned enough in this sport not to let something get me down. This has been a good couple weeks for us.
All right, good luck, Carl.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you.
And Chris, he starts 4th today and has 2 wins here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
All right, so Jeff Hammond, who steps in as his crew chief today in the interim?
Well, they got a couple guys. Number one, Chris Andrews, and the other thing is Robbie Reiser's coming off the bench. I mean, he won championships with Matt Kenseth. He knows his team. He knows these drivers. It's going to be okay for these guys.
All right, Darrell, some other drivers were skeptical. They said, hey, we thought it might have been intentional. A quote from Lee White, general manager of Toyota Racing Development: I guarantee you the cover of the bolts didn't fall out. He later kind of pulled back on that statement. But in the garage, there's some chatter about intent or not on this.
Well, here's what I say. Shame on the team first, but then shame on NASCAR second. When those lids were loose at Daytona, they had 5 teams that got penalized down there. They should have taken a look at the procedure for mounting that lid on top of those oil tanks and made a change right there. 1 bolt is not sufficient. If that thing's creating as much pressure as everybody has dreamed up, then that needs more than 1 bolt holding it in place. Don't tempt me to cheat.
Right. And I know that you're going to take a close.
Don't
tempt me.
And neither one of you have ever been suspended, by the way, when you.
No.
were,
Oh,
not in.
Might have should have been, but we weren't.
You can check my record.
In broadcasting,
I stand on my record.
That could change. Jeff, I know you're going to take a closer look and actually illustrate and show this later with Darrell, but could during the course of the race something like that loosen up where you wouldn't spot it?
I mean, you have things like that happen during the course of a race. I mean, you can't deny that, folks. I mean, things come loose. Now, whether it was designed that way, we'll never know. The fact is, it came loose. NASCAR said it's a no-no. And as we said earlier, you're busted.
All right, real quick. Carl said it's fair. You think the punishment is fair?
Well, based on what they've done to everybody else. But again, I think this car is we're in a research and development stage with this car. If it'll make the car better and it doesn't change the appearance of the car on the outside, I'd say, okay, that was illegal last week, but from here on out, everybody can do it.
Yep.
Okay. Jack Roush is appealing, of course. We don't know how this will turn out more later. I do know what's around the turn here in NASCAR on Fox, including in the pit zone. Darrell and Jeff will show us how a small oil lid can actually cause a large amount of trouble in the pit zone auto zone. We'll get a closer look at what actually happened to Edwards' car. It ain't easy being cool in hot Atlanta, but we found out who the hippest drivers are in NASCAR, at least in their mind. Jeff Gordon will talk with us live, try to bounce back after the unlucky wreck in Vegas. Larry Mack was on Cloud 9 visiting the Weather Channel this week. And Darrell and Jeff are on the clock and gas and go. We hope you set those clocks forward. It's a place known for close finishes. We're just getting started on Fox.